You need to be here, ready to sit down at 9 a.m. tomorrow. All right, once again, this is the start of round 9. You have 50 minutes. Please begin.
So welcome to the final round of day 1 of Magic the Gathering's Grand Prix Nashville here in Nashville, Tennessee. Rich Hagan and Ben Swartz with you for the final round of the day. And what a matchup we have. It's former Player of the Year Shuhei Nakamura of Japan up against Reed Duke of the United States. And Ben, we see Shuhei mulliganing there. So we have a little bit of time to talk about these two players. And I guess by and large we would expect you to know more about Reed Duke than Shuhei. But as we know, you've spent a year out in Japan getting to know Shuhei and a bunch of the Japanese pros. What is it that you think during those middle 2000s made Japan such a force in the game?
Shuhei talked about this in one of his articles for Star City Games, one of his first articles. He talks about how Magic Online really evolved the quality of Japanese players. Them being able to draft a lot more, them being able to play Constructed a lot more, try a lot more things. I'm not sure if you know, Rich, but if you recall back in the early 2000s, Japanese players were considered a joke at Limited. If you played against a Japanese player at Limited...
Sure, yeah, it was difficult because well, it was a cultural thing, wasn't it? They did not draft.
Right.
And there was no Magic Online to help you do it, so you couldn't do you didn't play hundreds of drafts online. That just wasn't the gig.
So Magic Online was, in 2004, was really what shifted sort of the Japanese players from being not so great at the Pro Tour, maybe a joke at the Pro Tour by some American standards, to being, the force that was driving the Pro Tour, the people that were always in top 8s, making top 8s, winning Player of the Year. I mean, if I recall correctly, a Japanese player won Player of the Year 3 or 4 years in a row, right?
Oh, more like 6. No, because once Gabriel Nassif won in 03 to 04, you had Kenji in 05, then you have Saito in 06. Then on it goes. You have Nakamura. Then you've got Watanabe winning.
You got Yasuoka also.
Yasuoka was 06. Sorry.
Right. Then Watanabe.
And then Saito 07. Shuhei 08. Then Watanabe. And just a ton of tremendous, genuinely dominant Japanese players. Like I said, when they walked into European Grand Prix, you thought, which 5 players will be joining these 3 in the top 8? And that's kind of how it played out. So we're away in the final round of GP Nashville. Reed Duke would be very sad to see this deck go, I would imagine.
Yeah. He wish he could use it in his draft rounds, maybe.
I tell you what, it might not do too badly in the draft rounds. It's Black Cat. Kicking off for Reed.
I think Black Cat is a card that is better suited for sealed as opposed to draft. It really changes the way your opponent plays, and it's especially good here against Shuhei when he mulligans to 5. You don't want to... In sealed, you're usually holding onto your cards, holding onto your removal, but with Black Cat there, every time you attack, there's that possibility that your opponent might jump block and force you to discard one of your cards. So I think the power level of it is different between sealed and draft. It's an interesting thing to know. A Strangleroot Geist. Shuhei's been playing that guy... Having that guy come into play tapped all day. Just, immediately drop him into the red zone. And so Reed's put to a decision here whether or not he wants to block and force Shuhei to discard a card, but make a 3-2. It looks like Reed's just going to take the 2 damage, go to 18. So, let's see what Reed's first play of the game is. I haven't seen too much of Reed's deck. How powerful are his cards that are not Lingering Soul Sorin or Vault of the Archangel?
They're kind of ordinary. But then that's like saying, Doom Travelers and Midnight Hauntings are ordinary in the black-white tokens deck.
Anything's good with Vault of the Archangel.
Kind of, yeah. And he said that's pretty much how he won pretty much all his rounds.
Sure. Just not surprising.
So there's a 2/2 flyer. Oh, by the way, it's going to gain Death Touch and Lifelink at some point.
Strangleroot Geist getting in again for Reed, or for Shuhei rather. And Stormbound Geist.
Stormbound Geist, yeah. And this is a matchup where we've both seen these players, but we've seen different halves. So you've got Shuhei in action, with the green glue and then his changing into other decks. And I watched Reed in action. And now here they are sort of paired up in the final round. Reminded that Caleb Durwood is also in feature match action against Tristan Sommer.
It's good to see Caleb at the top tables in a limited tournament. He's had success at legacy tournaments, at some constructed events, but limited was not his strong point. It looks like he's devoted time to getting better at limited this year. And you see that here, he's on the brink of an undefeated performance in day one.
Indeed.
So Shuhei takes care
of the Gallows Warden
with crushing vines.
Yeah, I have a real blank spot about because it begins with C and it ends in vine. So you're like crushing, clinging, cracking.
And Shuhei here is showing the strength of Undying. His 2 creatures with Undying make it really difficult for Reed to want to trade with them because they'll just come back even stronger. And
he's going to be put to that decision pretty soon, though, because he just says, just checking that you've just got a couple of cards left, and Reed's down to 10. There's a second Swan. 5 mana Moorcrux Banshee. And again, that's Moorcrux Banshee without the bonus of Morbid, so...
But it'll keep...
Straight up 4/4.
It'll keep the Stranglewood Geist at bay.
Yeah.
I'm confused as to why Reed didn't trade off that Black Cat earlier. You'd think that he'd want to get rid of one of those cards in Shuhei's hand before he had time to use it.
Shuhei with 3 cards in hand right now. Reed at 8. Another land. Now there's Moon Heron.
Moon Heron, no Undying, so it's sort of kept at bay by the Abbey Griffin.
Yeah. So I don't know whether Reed's actually lost any games thus far, but certainly in a not a fabulous position right now against you.
Yeah, if he draws Vault of the Archangel at any point, I think he's in a really good position.
Yeah.
Just the lifelink from that card is way too powerful.
Ghost Quarter. Make a case for not playing with it in sealed.
Main deck?
Yeah.
I don't think I would main deck it unless something went real wrong.
Okay, sure.
I think if I saw a deck with either Gavany Township or Vault of the Archangel, I would immediately board it down.
Right. But you wouldn't instinctively play it main?
The only time I would play it main is if I were playing maybe like a 5-color deck where I needed it
for your own fixing.
But even then, it's not good in a 3-color deck because you might as well just play the land that you want.
Sure.
Your splash color instead.
Moon Heron and Abbey Griffin do indeed trade, and then you may recognise that gentleman. It's Sorin, Lord of Innistrad.
Is that card good?
Well, I don't really know. I've not really seen much of him, to be honest. Hasn't turned up that often. Let's put it like this. You can put a 1/1 black vampire creature token with lifelink onto the battlefield, which, kind of seems alright. You could get an emblem with creatures you control get +1/+0, or you could destroy up to 3 target creatures and or other planeswalkers and return each card put into a graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. And that actually seems quite saucy.
Yeah, the ultimate is very, very good, and it's very possible to get to it. But I mean, in any case, a Planeswalker in sealed deck, so powerful, even if it's one of the better Planeswalkers in Sorin.
So Shuhei
counting up his damage, seeing if there's a way he can beat.
And Burden of Guilt says, let's tap it down. Strangleroot Geist will aim at Sorin.
So this is an interesting thing. Shuhei did a little quick math to decide which would it be better to go after. Would it be quicker to go after Sorin and then Reed? Or was Reed at low enough life total at 8 that he might be able to just kill Reed outright? And it looks like he made a decision to start going after Sorin because that threat of continually producing 1/1 vampires with lifelink is probably too much.
I was going to say, as we know, Sorin is quite good at protecting itself.
For sure. That's one of the things that makes it so good.
Now, for those of you thinking that Vault of the Archangel would be useful for Reed right now, remember he has 2 of them in his deck. So he does have twice the chance of drawing it. Falcon Wrath Torturer comes down. tap down, and now you're starting to see Reed taking control of the game. Now, obviously, Shuhei did have the mulligan.
2 mulligans.
2 mulligans, yeah.
But still, looked from the beginning of the game that Shuhei had a dominant board presence, but...
Alpaca Vest Wild.
It's funny how quickly Soren changes those things.
So, Caleb Durwood in the background, shuffling up against Tristan Sommer, who actually see with the Batman t-shirt on. They're shuffling for their game 2, presumably. And there we see Vault of the Archangel.
The foil one.
The foil one, yeah.
Now I can't foresee Shuhei winning here. Just this life gain is too much.
Yeah, Death Touch lifelink. Gain a bunch, Soren at 6, make a guy. It's just inevitable. Doomed Traveller. See, and that's what I mean about,
Yeah.
Let's be honest, there's not a lot exciting about Doomed Traveller, but there isn't meant to be. It's meant to be value, and that's exactly what it does. And thank you very much. That will be 1-0 in favour of Mr. Reed Duke, who is, of course, Raider Rabbit on Magic Online, 2011 Magic Online champion. Beat Florian Hills in the final, a very fine German player who also made the top 8 of Paper Worlds, as it were, Rome 2009, the event won by Andre Coimbra of Portugal. Very few miles on the Reed Duke clock in terms of Premier level events. He's 7 Pro Tours to his name at the moment, coming out of Honolulu, where he was in the top 64. Best part of 2 dozen Grand Prix, 21 GPs. This is his 22nd, with 2 top 8s, Providence and Montreal, both last year. That's Shuhei Nakamura. He's, done all right periodically.
You were saying he's played in 121 Grand Prix?
I believe this is his 126th individual Grand Prix. He's played in some team events as well.
105 more than Reed?
Something like that, yeah. So, in terms of Pro Tours, 40 of those, up over the 450 Pro Tour point mark. 5 Pro Tour top 8s, 1 a year from 2004 to 2008. Starting with his final loss to Pierre Canali in Columbus when the Frenchman won with Affinity. Then Worlds Yokohama 05, Prague 06, Valencia 07. Again into the semi-finals there, the event by one Remy Fortier. And semi-finals again 2008 for Pro Tour Hollywood, won by Charles Gindy, who keeps coming up in coverage today. So that's the story of Shuhei Nakamura on a Pro Tour level. Once we get to Grand Prix, how many top 8s? Well, that will be 17 then. And 3 Grand Prix titles to his name, St. Louis and Hiroshima in 2006, and then Stuttgart, defeating Robert van Meederoy in the final to open the 2008 Player of the Year race in the last days of 2007.
17 Grand Prix top 8s?
Yes, he has almost as many top 8s as Reed has starts.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He has more Grand Prix top 8s than Matthew Costa has played GPs. That's unbelievable. That's the experience gap that we're talking about. And I think that's why you talked about Matthew Costa having a large amount of self-confidence. I think that's where that's essential, because there are people, not just people like me, but there are people who look at a Shuhei and look at a Matt Costa and go, Matt Costa, you're a heavy underdog.
For sure.
You must be a heavy underdog. He's Shuhei Nakamura. He's older than you, he's smarter than you, he's got more everything than you. To which Matt goes, yeah, but I can't help that I was 12 when Shuhei was winning his first GP. That's not my fault. I am who I am, and who I am is a very good Magic player.
And looks like players are ready for the second game here. I wonder if Shuhei ended up sideboarding into the other deck that we saw earlier.
Looks like he's still pretty green-blue.
Okay. Again, Strangleroot Dice comes to play tap.
Which is as good a start as he could look for against the grindy, I cannot be beaten Reed Duke.
I mean, the thing about Reed Duke's deck is he just needs to last until he gets 1 or 2 creatures and Vault of the Archangel. Once he gets a creature that's a 3/3 or bigger, the lifelink of Vault of the Archangel will buy back any time that he's lost. And here we see Gather the Townsfolk for him.
Yep.
Building his army.
And so Reed, rather than saying, let's give you a better guy, we'll just put one in the way and trade that. Still got one back. And
I mean, from Reed's point of view, again, he's just buying time.
now here's a Falcon Wrath Torturer. I'm reluctant to say it's all over.
Me too, but...
Nonetheless, the moment of hope from my point of view was when Strangleroot Guys came down on turn 2. And the fun kind of ceased shortly thereafter.
The one thing going for Shuhei is he's got a lot of flyers, and I haven't seen too many flyers out of Reed Duke. He had the Abbey Griffin last game, but if I recall correctly, Shuhei had Murder of Crows in his deck, along with a couple Stormbound Geist, but it looks like here he's bottlenecked on mana. He didn't make his 4th land drop, and he has a Stormbound Geist in the hand, but he doesn't have a second blue with which to cast it.
So in a sealed format that's pretty active, it's not that often you see 6 land in play and a little token, and that's it. And that's just because everything else is gone.
Yeah, only the weak remain.
Oh.
Or only Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, remains. Unbelievable. Shuhei does get a second island here, so he's turned on some of his cards, allowing him to cast Galvanic Juggernaut.
Thing is, Reed has an endless supply of ways to just randomly stick something in the way.
And then a way to get the Juggernaut on his side of the table.
Yeah, Sorin to 5. What seems so disgusting is when you see the land not even tapping as the new guy arrives. You know, it is just, well, before I have my turn, I'll have a free man. Thanks.
It was the same way with Elspeth Knight Errant.
Oh, totally.
It's like always, free token, jump my guy.
She might be my favorite Planeswalker of all.
She's Brian Kibler's favorite Planeswalker.
Is she?
So Reed has to get in here with his Shuhei has to get in here with his Galvanic Juggernaut, deciding who he wants to attack, but in the end it probably won't make a difference.
So he aims at Sorin, of course. Thraben Sentry becomes Thraben Militia. So more bad news for Shuhei.
And
Stormbound Geist. That's not terrible. That's a start in the right direction.
It's giving him a presence in the air, which will be able to pick off some counters from Sorin.
So when this match finishes, we'll be closing up shop for the night. If you want to know where your favourite players have ended up, did they make it in at 7 and 2? Are they on the bubble looking out the other side? We can have a good look at that on magicthegathering.com, daily MTG. Check out the full standings for everyone your nearest and dearest.
So another vampire token for Reed and a Moan of the Unhallowed to continue producing these tokens. But
so now here's 474 creatures that will work with my Vault of the Archangel. 2 of which I could draw. Burden of Guilt.
On Stormbound Geist means Sorin will still have 6 counters on Reed's next turn, allowing Reed to ultimate Sorin if he so chooses. It's unbelievable.
It's pretty savage, right? Shuhei. Many things on the other side of the table that I don't like. Many things.
Unfortunate for Shuhei that he had to run into this deck before the end of day 1.
Shuhei is saying, well, I'm going to attack, so Galvanic Juggernaut attempts to pile Sorin to death. Doesn't happen, shocker. Galvanic Juggernaut untaps.
Reed threatening 11 points of power on the following turn, which, if he uses the -2 ability of Sorin, is enough to kill Shuhei. Potentially, depending on how Shuhei blocks.
5 cards in hand for Shuhei. None of them appear to say, like, Oblivion Ring, for example, which would be...
There's a Snapcaster in his hand that he could use to block one of the creatures, but there's no instants or sorceries in his graveyard. Ooh, Grasp of Phantoms. To return Thraben Militia to the top of Reed's deck.
Obviously that's fine, so...
I mean, it's important that he's able to get that Trampler out of the way.
Yeah.
Now Reed has to consider, does he want to make another Vampire and ultimate the following turn? Or does he want to ultimate this turn, get the Juggernaut, maybe get the Geist? I think that's what he's asking the judge right now. Is if he ultimates Sorin, will he get the Geist even though there's Undying? Let's take a read of Sorin. Destroy up to 3 target permanents. Return each card put into a graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control.
Okay. So, I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities, isn't there? Because in theory, you could say that the Undying triggers, it returns to play, goes into play on Shuhei's side, because that's what Undying forces it to do. Then Sorin's resolves.
Well, Sorin's is going to resolve all at one time, right? It's going to destroy the creature, and then since it went to the graveyard this way, return to play under Reed's side,
so,
and then Undying will trigger.
And at that point, it's all too late, because it isn't yours anymore.
Exactly.
It's like what it looks in the graveyard and goes, what Stormbound guys to return to play?
I'm no judge, but I'm pretty sure that's how the interaction works.
Maybe we're about to find out. One, two, three, 4.
Recast that Thraben Sentry that was grasped to the top of his library.
Up to 7, so Reed decides to go down make another 1/1 play.
I mean, I think that's fine, right? There's no reason that he really needs to ultimate Sorin this turn. That would just be trying to play to win. Here he's taking a sort of safer route. Next turn he can ultimate Sorin, take all of Shuhei's guys, be in the same position he is here.
Had dinner with Zane Begg and John Locks and Marshall Sutcliffe the other day, and it looks like 2 of the 3 are going to make the top 8 of their BTQ. Zane playing for top 8. Looks like John Locks can ID safely into the top 8, so congratulations to them. Good luck, boys. Shuhei looking. Reed's at 20, which I imagine is kind of where he's been through most of the day.
20 or more. I wonder if he's got a Chalice of Life in his list. I'm not saying that he should play it, but no Chalice of Life. That'd be interesting, though. Just to add insult to injury.
Heal you 5 at a time.
After I'm already destroying you with Vault of the Archangel.
Has that happened to you yet? Has someone challenged you to death?
No, not yet.
No,
Does it feel good?
It's not happened to me either.
Okay.
I imagine it feels utterly miserable.
I'm sure.
You should tell your buddies about it, though.
Join the Facebook group.
I'm tied to Chalice.
So it looks like Reed is going to use the ultimate on Sorin. He's going to...
Oh, and now is Shuhei like, do I get this back?
So... I mean, even if he doesn't get it back, that's 5, 9, 10, 11 damage.
So they're having a read, or more accurately, the judge is showing it to Shuhei.
Explaining the ruling as we explained it earlier.
These are the 3 that I'm going to try and kill, or up to 3. And then it resolves, and then there is an Undying trigger. Would not surprise me if Shuhei asks for Head Judge Jeff Morrow here. Not even necessarily because he thinks that's incorrect, because at 8-0, this is probably quite a good place to make sure that what is right is right.
The judging staff at these big tournaments are always very good, but it's always great to have that ability to double check. But it looks like Shuhei's not going to cause any big fuss.
I guess the explanation was good enough.
I mean, either way, I don't think Shuhei can win.
Oh, no.
Yep, and Shuhei packs up his cards.
There you have it. Reed Duke by 2-0 in a turn of events predicted by many since they watched Reed Duke build his Sorin Lingering Souls double vaulted the Archangels list, plus some support cards. Reed Duke was pretty confident of having a good day at the office, and you can be certain that Reed Duke will be back at Table 1